So here I am, the one and only, up close and personal. My name is Shemar Moore. Now, a lot of you may think you know me from TV shows and from interviews and from talk shows. Those are bits and pieces of me.
For 3 decades, Shemar Moore has consistently graced our screens as the epitome of perfection, the charismatic FBI hero, a television star who captivated an entire generation with his irresistible smile. He's been a seemingly flawless icon, a veritable monument admired by all of America. But is that the full story, or merely a dazzling spotlight concealing a much deeper truth? It's time to look beyond that immaculate facade. Because hidden deep within, Shemar Moore has silently carried 3 life-altering secrets: a father incarcerated at San Quentin prison, a bitter betrayal from his closest confidant, and a fateful February morning in 2020 that completely shattered his world. Join us as we peel back the layers and explore the untold chapters of this extraordinary man's life. This journey begins right where Shemar Moore was born, where destiny first laid the groundwork for a tumultuous and truly remarkable path. The foundations of the fractures. Shemar Franklin Moore was born on April 20th, 1970, in Oakland, California. His name was no accident. It was a fusion of she from his father's name, Sherrod, and Mar from his mother's, Marilyn. A child who, before he could even walk, carried the weight of 2 people who fell in love in an era that didn't permit it. His mother, Marilyn Wilson, was a white woman of French-Canadian and Irish descent. His father, Shemar Moore, was an African-American military veteran. They met and fell in love in the mid-60s, a time when many states still outlawed interracial marriage. Just 2 years before Shemar was born, the Supreme Court finally legalized unions like theirs. But laws change faster than minds. When Shemar was just 6 months old, Marilyn packed up her son and left America. She couldn't stand the stares on the streets of Oakland, or the pain of her own family turning their backs on her for marrying a black man. She took a job teaching mathematics abroad, and they began a new life. Their first stop was Denmark, then Bahrain. They lived for a time in Ghana and Greece. In his first 7 years, Shemar had lived on 4 different continents. He later summed up his childhood in one short sentence: "Nothing about my life was normal." In 1977, mother and son returned to California. They settled first in Chico, then moved to Palo Alto. Marilyn taught math. A teacher's salary didn't go far. They lived in a small apartment, ate frugally, and Shemar grew up feeling like his entire world consisted of one person. School wasn't a safe haven. As a biracial kid, he wasn't white enough for the white kids and not black enough for the black kids. Years later, as a star, he recounted the questions that haunted his childhood. Am I brown enough? Am I black enough? He didn't know where he belonged. But every time he came home with red eyes, his mother had the same answer. She would take his hand and say the same thing, over and over: "You are the result of love, not a mistake of history." That became the first piece of armor he ever wore. It didn't erase the pain, but it gave him a reason to get up every morning. Another person played a crucial role during those years: his high school baseball coach, Melvin Harrison. The man taught him how to hit, how to be disciplined, and how to be a self-respecting black man. Shemar would later admit that Melvin Harrison was the father figure he'd always craved, because his biological father was in a very different kind of institution. Shemar Moore wasn't just a veteran. He was a former member of the Black Panthers, the radical African-American organization that shook America in the 60s and 70s. In an interview years later, Shemar spoke cautiously about his father. He said his father had a positive cause he believed in, but that cause didn't keep him out of trouble. When Shemar was a young boy, Sherrod was sentenced to 4 years in San Quentin State Prison. Shemar never publicly revealed the exact reason, only saying it was an incident involving his mother. It was part of why Marilyn had taken him out of the country in the first place. Throughout his childhood, Sherrod was just a shadow. A few letters, a few brief visits. As Shemar grew into a man, they reconnected. But he kept a clear boundary. He forgave, but he didn't forget. He let his father into his life, but only on his terms. Around 2020, Sherrod passed away at nearly 80 years old. A few months later, his mother was gone too. In less than a year, the man America admired had lost both of the people who gave him life. But those profound losses were still in the future. To understand the man, we have to go back to the 90s, when a different door was about to open for Shemar, one he never saw coming. A shattered dream and a door to the spotlight. At Gunn High School in Palo Alto, Shemar was no ordinary student. He was a good student. He was an even better baseball player, a star on the varsity team. In his senior year, he earned an athletic scholarship to Santa Clara University. He majored in communications with a minor in theater arts. But in his mind, there was only one long-term plan: professional baseball. He was the first one at the field every morning and the last one to leave at night. While his roommates were out partying, he was in the weight room. His goal was the major leagues. His backup plan was a contract good enough to buy his mom a house. Then he injured his shoulder. It was a bad injury. The doctors were blunt. He could play for fun, they said, but a professional career was out of the question. A decade-long dream evaporated in a 15-minute doctor's appointment. Shemar didn't cry. He didn't get angry. He just sat there in silence for a long time, then got up and left. He didn't tell his mother for several days. When he finally did, he told her he would find another job. That other job came faster than he expected. A fashion photographer in the San Francisco Bay Area spotted him at a college party. He approached Shemar and asked him to do a test shoot. Shemar didn't think much of it. He agreed because he needed the money. Those first photos got attention. A few local catalogs booked him. Some smaller magazines called. Within a year, he had signed with DNA Model Management in New York, one of the top modeling agencies in the world. He would go on to grace the cover of Men's Fitness and countless other major publications. But modeling was just the entryway. The real door was opened by a call no one expected. In 1995, Toni Braxton was shooting a music video in Miami and needed a male lead. Her agent called Shemar's agent. He flew down to Miami, starred in the video for How Many Ways, and a personal relationship between the two began soon after. It was his first Hollywood romance. He later recounted it with a self-deprecating laugh. He was just a broke kid fresh out of college, he said. Toni called his agent and suddenly he was on a first-class flight. He compared himself to a kid who'd just found the pot of gold at the end of the rainbow. The relationship with Toni Braxton didn't last long, but it put Shemar Moore on the entertainment industry's radar. That same year, a CBS soap opera called The Young and the Restless was looking for a young actor for a new role. They chose him. The character's name was Malcolm Winters, a complex photographer who started as a bad boy before finding his way back to his family. Shemar played the part starting in 1994. He had no formal acting training. He'd never even taken an acting class. From soap opera to superstar. For nearly a decade, Malcolm Winters became one of the most beloved characters on Y&R. Female viewers across America went wild. The role became one of the most popular black characters in soap opera history. In 2000, Shemar won a Daytime Emmy for Outstanding Supporting Actor in a Drama Series. He would go on to win a total of 8 NAACP Image Awards. On set, he found a brother. Christoph St. John, who played Malcolm's on-screen brother, became his real-life mentor and friend. Shemar had no biological siblings. For a long time, Christoph was the closest thing to family he had besides his mom. In 2019, Christoph passed away. Shemar recalled something Christoph had told him years before. Christoph had said that he had a family, but Shemar didn't. He told Shemar to fly. He wanted to see how high he could soar. Alongside Y&R, Shemar hosted the legendary music show Soul Train from 1999 to 2003, taking over a mantle once held by Don Cornelius. For a young actor to be chosen to host Soul Train was a clear sign. Shemar wasn't just a pretty face. He was a cultural force. But the real peak came in 2005. CBS was developing a new crime series called Criminal Minds. They needed an actor for the role of FBI Special Agent Derek Morgan, a veteran of the Behavioral Analysis Unit. The role demanded physicality, confidence, and a kind of masculine charisma that networks rarely gave to a black actor in a leading role. Shemar got the part. For 11 seasons and over 250 episodes, Derek Morgan became one of the most popular characters on American television. His line, calling his colleague Penelope Garcia "baby girl," became one of the decade's most iconic catchphrases. He left Criminal Minds in 2016. A year later, he was back with S. Wade. This time, he wasn't just an actor, he was also a producer. His role as Sergeant Daniel Hondo Harrelson would last for 8 seasons, concluding in May 2025. During its run, SWAT became one of CBS's biggest hits. From a little boy who had to flee America because of his skin color, Shemar Moore had become one of the most enduring black television actors of the 21st century. And at the height of that fame, he placed his absolute trust in one person. It would be the most expensive mistake of his life. The blade from a brother. In 2014, Shemar founded a company called Baby Girl LLC. The name was a nod to his Criminal Minds catchphrase, but its true purpose was deeply personal. All profits from the company went to research for multiple sclerosis, MS, the disease his mother had been living with for 15 years. His mom was diagnosed with MS in 1999, though doctors believed she'd had symptoms for 20 years prior. The disease slowly ate away at her nervous system. At times, she had to crawl up the stairs in her own home. Sometimes she needed a wheelchair. Every year, Shemar participated in the Bike MS Coastal Challenge, riding 100 miles to raise money for the cause. Baby Girl LLC was the most personal project he'd ever undertaken. And to run it, he needed someone he trusted completely. That man's name was Keith Tisdale. They met when Tisdale guest starred on 2 episodes of Criminal Minds. On screen, they were enemies. Tisdale's character, Rodney Harris, went head-to-head with Derek Morgan. Off-screen, they became fast friends. Tisdale became part of Shemar's inner circle. He was invited to dinner at his home. Shemar gave him expensive gifts. According to Shemar's own court testimony, he had loaned Tisdale at least $20,000 in cash, no strings attached. He bought Tisdale a set of custom rims for his car worth $10,000. Shemar trusted Tisdale like a blood brother. That's what he said in court. I helped him out because I thought he was my brother. As Baby Girl LLC grew, Tisdale was given access to the company's accounts and the charity's funds. By 2016, an internal audit revealed something was wrong. A large sum of money was missing. Fake invoices had been created. Undocumented transactions had piled up. In total, $61,084 had been siphoned from the fund. The only person with access besides Shemar was Keith Tisdale. Shemar didn't call his lawyer first. He called Tisdale. He confronted him directly. He wanted to hear the truth from the man he considered family. Tisdale denied everything. He blamed sloppy bookkeeping. He admitted to nothing. So Shemar turned all the evidence over to the police. In January 2016, Tisdale was arrested on suspicion of embezzlement. The case went to the Los Angeles Superior Court. On August 11, 2016, Tisdale pleaded no contest to grand theft as part of a plea deal. His sentence included repaying the full $61,084, performing 45 days of community labor for Caltrans, and serving 3 years of probation. If he stayed out of trouble, his record could be expunged. Standing before Judge Hayden Zaki, Shemar said something that was quoted in the press for years. In my mind, he wasn't man enough to look me in the eye and fess up, he said. I've done a lot for him because I believed in him. This is not about the money. This is about a betrayal of a friendship. And that is not okay. The press called it one of Hollywood's most memorable betrayals of the year. Some fans criticized Shemar for being too naive with his money. He didn't respond. He just kept running Baby Girl LLC. He expanded the MS fundraising program to other states. He appeared at medical conferences to share his mother's story. He thought that was the deepest wound he would ever have to endure. He was wrong. 4 years later, on a Saturday morning, a phone call would make it all feel small. The greatest loss. February 8, 2020 was a Saturday. The COVID-19 pandemic hadn't yet gripped the world. Hollywood was business as usual. Shemar was in the middle of filming the 3rd season of SWAT. That morning, he got the news that his mother had passed away. He later described it with brutal simplicity. I had no idea she was about to go, he said. I woke up on that Saturday morning and got slapped in the face. Marilyn had battled MS for over 20 years. Her health had been declining in her final years, but she never told her son she was nearing the end. She didn't want him to stop working. She didn't want him to worry. She passed away suddenly on a weekend morning while her son was somewhere else. Shemar didn't announce the news right away. For nearly a month, he was completely silent. No press release, no tribute posts, no interviews. He went to set, he did his job, he smiled for the cameras. Then he went home and shut the door. Finally, he posted a single video to Instagram. In it, he sat before the camera, his eyes red and swollen. His heart was broken, he said. He couldn't breathe. He didn't know who he was without his mother. In later interviews, he spoke openly about his guilt. He called himself selfish. His mother had one last dream in her final years. She wanted to be a grandmother before she died. Shemar was consumed by his career. He wasn't married, had no children. When she passed, that dream was unfulfilled. On the Jennifer Hudson show, he said, "She was my everything. My whole life was about making my mom proud. When she was gone, he was lost." He wondered what it all meant, what he was doing all this for. There was one detail he repeated often. His mom was a superhero. She wanted to take care of the world but didn't know how to take care of herself. He had done his best. But as an only child, he couldn't be with her 24/7. After the funeral, his life changed. He took on fewer roles. He turned down more parties. He focused his time on his extended family and on his MS fundraising. The death of his mother, he said in one interview, was the hardest time in my career and the hardest time of my life. Then, something unexpected happened. In late 2022, Shemar reconnected with his girlfriend, Desiree Dizon. This time, things were different. In January 2023, Desiree announced she was pregnant. On January 24, 2023, their daughter was born. They named her Frankie Melalina Capuli Moore. Frankie after Shemar's middle name, Franklin. 2 weeks later, on February 8, 2023, Shemar posted a picture. In it, he sat on a patch of grass, holding his 15-day-old daughter with Desiree beside him. Directly behind them was the headstone of Marilyn Wilson Moore. It was the 3rd anniversary of her passing. Shemar, Desiree, Frankie, and the spirit of Grandma Marilyn, he wrote in the caption. He wrote that his mother's dream was for him to become a father and give her grandchildren. It took him a while, but her dream had finally come true. Frankie was born exactly 2 weeks before the 3rd anniversary of her grandmother's death. As Shemar later said in an interview, Grandma Marilyn is in heaven, doing the happy dance. Rumors, choices, and a legacy. For nearly 30 years, one question followed Shemar Moore. Why had a man like him never married? Why was someone so handsome, so famous, so successful, still single in his 50s? By the mid-2000s, online forums started asking a different question. Was he gay? The rumor spread. Tabloids published speculative photos. Fans debated on social media. For years, Shemar remained silent. His silence only fueled the speculation. In 2017, he decided to address it. During an interview with BET, when asked directly, he looked into the camera and laughed. "If you think I'm gay," he said, "send your girlfriend over to my house for the weekend and see what she thinks." That answer put an end to the rumor, but not to the question about marriage. He had his reasons. He didn't grow up with a happy marriage to look up to. His parents weren't married. They weren't happy. He stated plainly in a 2024 interview that he doesn't believe a piece of paper can validate love. His dating history is long. Toni Braxton in 1995, Halle Berry in 1997, Shauna Gordon from 2014 to 2016, Annabelle Acosta in 2018. He's spoken about how Halle Berry was the one who swept him off his feet. She was the first woman who truly made him fall in love, he said. They had to keep their relationship a secret because she was fresh off her divorce from David Justice. He took her to the Golden Globes in 1997. A few months later, they broke up. None of them led to marriage. It wasn't until he was 53 that he became a father for the first time. In early 2025, more news broke. TMZ reported that Shemar and Desiree had split. People magazine confirmed it. A source said they remained loving friends and co-parents, and always will be. Shemar posted no statement. He assigned no blame. He just kept posting pictures of his daughter. He just kept going to work. Also in 2025, Wade officially ended after 8 seasons. In the final press conference, Shemar said he didn't just play Hondo, he was Hondo. And Hondo would live inside him for the rest of his life. That same month, CBS announced a new spinoff, SWAT Exiles. Shemar would return, not just as the star and producer, but as a creative consultant. It was the first time he had comprehensive creative control over a project. He also joined the Sonic the Hedgehog franchise as GUN agent Randall Handel, with the 3rd film expanding his role. He was slowly transitioning from network action hero to roles in more family-friendly blockbuster films. On his personal Instagram, the images have changed. There are fewer shirtless photos on the beach. Instead, there are pictures of Shemar teaching Frankie how to ride her bike, taking her to the ocean, and sitting with her at breakfast. In a 2024 podcast, he said something that many people quoted. He said that he used to live his life to be seen. Now he lives to watch his daughter grow. The story of Shemar Moore doesn't have one single dark secret. It has pieces. A father who went to prison when he was too young to understand. A childhood spent on 4 continents because his mother couldn't protect him in his own homeland. A sports dream that shattered in a 15-minute appointment. A best friend who stole from his mother's charity fund. A Saturday morning when he lost his hero. A relationship that ended just after his daughter was born. He walked through every one of those pieces. He didn't tell the whole story at once. He shared each part when he was strong enough to. And maybe that's the real answer to the question from the beginning. A man's darkest secret isn't always something he's done. Sometimes it's everything he has silently endured to still be standing today. When the lights go out, everyone is left with something. For Shemar Moore, it's a little girl named Frankie, the memory of a mother who never stopped loving him, and for the first time in his life, a face that doesn't need a mask. When the lights go out, what's left of you?